Yeah, so he's head of or deputy director of part of a rather influential think tank called the Chinese Academy of Social Sciences. And this is essentially the peak think tank for all of China. It answers directly to the state council. And so he's probably one of the most well-known economists in China. He's certainly not someone you would consider to be an outspoken critic of the government. He's more of a health economist, if anything, rather than a commentator. And the fact that this happened in a private WeChat group rather than him, blasting the government on Weibo, marks a slightly disturbing step.
What were the specific comments that he made about the government's economic policies that might have alerted the government to his views?
Look, we don't know. The Wall Street Journal report is fairly light on detail of exactly what was said in this private chat, and in some ways, the private WeChat groups are sort of one of the remaining safe spaces in China, or people thought, but obviously are not. It seems that one of his colleagues has probably dobbed him in. And what it looks like he's caught up in is a sort of an ideological campaign. And the problem with China since the Cultural Revolution is a campaign needs a victim. And it looks like poor old Zhu Hengpeng is sort of helping to make quota in that campaign.
Are you surprised that he's managed to work for CAS for so long, a decade, I understand, without any previous incidents?
Yeah, I mean, he was head of a fairly large pharmaceutical company before he worked for CAS, so he's not he's not small fry. Really, it just seems to be they've had this campaign, and the motto of the campaign was to develop an ironclad army of academics who are loyal and reliable. And clearly he, by making whatever comments he made, he showed he was neither loyal nor reliable.
Why might the government be concerned about anyone making negative comments about the Chinese economy? What is the state of it at the moment? Is the government doing enough to revive the economy, which has been flagging since the pandemic?
Yeah, no, it's a very sensitive topic, and this just illustrates how sensitive. The government, like most communist governments, like to set targets. Its target for growth this year is a fairly modest 5%, but it's a lot of forecasters are doubting its ability to make that 5% mark. And today, as your listeners probably know, there's a cut in interest rates that's happened largely so they can meet that target.
What do you think has happened to Mr. Zhu? Of course, if we base it on other similar cases, he's not the only one to seemingly disappear following alleged criticism of the Chinese leadership in recent years.
Yeah, I mean, it's become one of our favourite parlour games in Chinese elite politics. Is he hiding under your desk? Because they do pop up in extraordinary places. The foreign minister disappeared, Qin disappeared for a very long time, and now he's back in public and everyone's behaving like nothing to see here. This is all perfectly normal. So it could well be that he'll pop up in a sort of demoted category down the line, depending on what it was he actually said in that WeChat group, which we really don't know.
And do you think there'll be any international pressure over any of these cases or international attention paid to them?
Look, I doubt there's going to be a free Zhu Hengpeng campaign because, he's an insider's insider. He's not someone who's going to be subject to any great human rights reaction in the West. He's played the game and he's lost.
Fascinating story. Dr. Graeme Smith, thank you for talking to us tonight.
Thank you.